Welcome into the Sports Buffoons Podcast. Welcome on in, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, back once again to the Sports Buffoon Studios here out of Lenexa, Kansas. We got Tanner Dawson and Jason JG. What's up, fellas?
What's up, everybody?
What's up, yo?
Gosh, how are you guys doing this week?
I am freaking fantastic. Mm-hmm. I got NCAA tournaments starting for conference, lining up for Sunday, Selection Sunday.
No.
NFL tags went on. We had massive trades going on. NBA is kind of starting to form into the playoff bracket and the play-in. I don't know, dude. It feels like so much going on.
I was mainly
right
wondering,
now.
Tanner. I didn't care about that. I cared about if you waited in line for the other Whataburger to open up.
No, I've never been at Whataburger.
Wow, you still haven't been to Whataburger. Okay.
I'm not going until probably September.
People were still waiting in line for the new one that just opened up in town.
Yeah, they had to have a traffic route for it.
So the first time that it opened up, they decided not to go to that one, so they're going to go to this one and wait for hours on it.
I don't know why.
Interesting.
I feel like it's time to do another overrated/underrated segment because
Really?
that's going to be overrated when you talk about the Whataburger.
Right. We know your feelings on the Whataburger. You know you're not a big fan of it. So anyway, Jason, what are you sipping on?
Well, we got the Maker's Mark going. Got to keep it
nice.
rolling.
Very nice. Maker's Mark. We do have a lot to get to today, guys. When I say a lot, I mean like NFL talk. We're not going to have much basketball today. We're going to be talking about football with you guys here for the next coming hours. So for me, that makes me very happy because even though it's the off season, I still get to have my happy thoughts and go to bed happy at the end of the night.
All right, so it won't let me post it on here, but AC just said buffoon blackout because he noticed we were all pretty much wearing black.
Ooh,
So I
blackout.
have to throw that out there.
Ooh, I think one of these days we should do a blackout or a whiteout, one of the two. But not after Labor Day. We know that.
It's actually going to be a whiteout after we get through this snowstorm.
Well,
tonight, so let's call it a whiteout.
I'm pretty
for
sure
now.
next week probably be a green out. So
a green out.
isn't St.
No.
Patty's Day next week?
Yeah, that's going to cause you to have a brown out is what's going to happen, Tanner. So.
I'm not saying nothing. Ain't gonna deny it.
Yeah. Boys and girls, so welcome on in, as I said. We're currently watching the random Suns-Miami Heat game. I'm happy my Suns are winning by 10 at the moment. Besides that, so we have a lot of news about Russell Wilson. Calvin Ridley obviously caught with some gambling while he took some time away from the game. Maybe that's why he retired in the first place. He wanted to go professional gambler.
Is it like
Professional
Jason?
sports bettor.
Am I hearing
Reminds
JG?
me of JG, something you would do.
Are we just you know what?
You would quit your job to be pro gambler, right?
It's something that some of us may have explored before in our lives, but that may have been back in my teenage years, maybe early 20s, but I'm happy to say that I have moved past that time in my life. Now I just give gambling advice, amazing gambling advice.
I see. Well then, with that said, you guys, when I saw the news come out about Calvin Ridley now being suspended for an entire season, all 17 games of this coming 2022 year, I was kind of surprised. I didn't really know exactly what he had done yet, and then Ridley himself came out on Twitter and said he only gambled $1,500, and that was all he had put down on a parlay apparently. So it's not very much for a guy that has made as much money as he's made so far in his life.
Heard he did not win that parlay at all.
So he put the money down, lost the
It was
parlay,
like-
and he got ratted on.
Wasn't it 3 different parlays, like a 4, 8, and 12?
Oh, so I don't know.
I'm pretty sure it's what it was. So he was just bound to lose anyway. So if he's putting that much for money on those kind of parlays,
I think he was just bored, honestly. He just was bored. He's like, I want to go bet on some sports, and I'm not playing anymore because I wanted to take time away. And so,
remember this too. Calvin Ridley in the offseason, it was part of he took time away for mental health reasons. So I don't know, maybe it was just up his alley he didn't help with the mental health. Maybe that's just a way to escape.
When I'm not feeling great, I like to go to the casino too. So I understand Calvin Ridley 100%, guys.
Yeah, you're a great donator.
I'd love to donate every once in a while to the favorite casino of choice. So with that said, you guys, I was kind of thinking though, do you guys actually think that sports betting for players or coaches or anyone of that nature should actually just be allowed in sports? Because I don't think it has anything to do with any kind of corruption of the game whatsoever. If there's cheating involved and there's collusion involved in pro sports, then it's going to happen regardless of gambling. It's just going to happen no matter what because there's still money on the line somewhere to be made. And so for me, I didn't really care that Ridley was out gambling. It's not something that bothers me at all. I think that this happens quite more often than people realize. Someone just ratted on him at the end of the day. They saw Calvin Ridley's name come up across the screen when they were going through the filters of who's been putting in bets, and at that point notified the NFL.
And, I mean, that's just part of the partnership, too, that the NFL has with guys such as FanDuel, DraftKings, and the different sports books, is they are supposed to essentially rat those guys out in the end.
There's actually people that are supposed to watch for that stuff.
Yes.
Now,
Legit.
If your name is like Chris Smith or something like that, like that's a very generic name, you could probably get away with it. I mean, honestly, think about it. Or
Really?
if, there's been multiple Cameron Thomases, and
They'd have to really track you down somehow.
yeah, if you had a very generic name, you might be able to sneak in there. So, Jason, what do you think about this topic? Do you think Ridley's suspension is overboard, or do you think it's justified? And how do you feel about gambling in general in sports?
Well, first of all, I think the NFL made the right decision here. I personally don't have a problem with any professional athletes gambling, but the biggest issue I have here is that Calvin Ridley did it on his own phone with his own account. And so my biggest problem with this whole situation is that a lot of professional players in any sport, they don't surround themselves with the right people. Because if Calvin Ridley would have surrounded himself with the right people, this would have been a burner account on a burner phone, and none of this would have ever happened. And so, yeah, it's great if you want to gamble, but hey, let's take a lesson from the great Kevin Durant. Kevin Durant is a man after my own heart. He totally believes in burner phones and burner accounts. At that point, you can say or do whatever the hell you want. But apparently, Calvin Ridley did not surround himself with the right people who could have told him, hey, bro, can you get a damn burner phone instead of signing up for a Bovada account on your own, under your own name with your own phone? Like,
so normally you have two phones, one for your girlfriend and one for your side chick, but in this case, now you just have two phones for gambling.
Exactly, but
I get it.
For me, it was a little bit short-sighted on the part of Calvin Ridley, but as a rule, I have no problem with gambling, but you have to do it in the right way. You've got to figure out a way to get around the rules. Get around the rules.
If you're going to bend the
Why
rules,
do we
got to
go around the rules?
I'm not a guy that believes...
Tanner's not a rule breaker.
Why do we got to go around them?
You never break the rules, but you have to figure out a way around the rules. Kind of like the
There's
U.S.
no
government,
around.
if you think about it.
You have to put all your information into the same way anyways,
You
whether
could
you
use
burner
someone.
phone or not.
No, he's got to be in a family. He could use someone else's
So,
information.
like, use his brother or cousin or whatever?
Yes, use a brother, use a cousin.
Kind of like if you're a U.S. taxpayer and you want to store some money offshore, figure out a way around the rules. I'm just saying.
I love that idea.
I'm not saying that I would do that. I certainly would never do something like that.
So let me bring this topic into play then. Austin Eckler hosts a DFS show, Daily Fantasy, right? That we see on we do on FanDuel, DraftKings, and all that throughout the NFL season. Never played it apparently because he's never been suspended for it. Do you see an issue with that? Do you think Austin Eckler's bending the rules? Do you think he has like 3 burner phones? Because he's the one talking about these players, even the games he's going into. Like what makes it total different besides playing it than anything?
You talk about Eckler just because he has like a fantasy show.
Yeah, he just
where
has
he
a
talks
daily
about it,
fantasy
but he doesn't
show.
gamble on it.
He's never been caught gambling.
No, I don't care. I think you should gamble. I don't care. Go for
I
it.
know what you think, but do you think he's actually gambled just through like you guys said?
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter
What do you
because
mean?
if he did, he would have a separate burner phone and somebody running that burner phone for him. He just tells that guy, okay, I want to bet on this, but I am not going to be a doofus and bet on it myself from my own
So
phone.
Austin Eckler doing that reminds me a little bit of O.J. Simpson. He wrote that book, If I Did It, This Is How I Would Do It. And then you could basically just be like that for DFS and just be like, if I was to gamble on this or mix up my lineup, this is who I would pick.
Okay.
But I'm not doing that.
So you're saying
I'm not sure.
I'm not white glove.
Eckler's doing it.
I'm not sure that O.J. Simpson is the proper comparison for
It's
this
if
topic,
I was to set my lineup, if I was allowed to, this is how I would do it. That's O.J. Simpson writing the book about if you kill his wife.
All right,
that's fine.
Also, one more thing: Calvin Ridley banned for life in the NFL, Pete Rose style.
No,
Betting on football.
It's a
Betting on
different.
baseball?
It's
Yeah.
a different era. Okay, it's a different era.
probably
People back in Pete Rose's day, even to this day, they love to hold a grudge, and
Hey,
they will never
and for
let him
me,
in the Hall of Fame.
guys-
But today is different.
Calvin Ridley. The Calvin Ridley was not playing in these games he was betting on, or even playing at all. He was essentially partially retired because he wanted to step away from the game. So it's not like you're betting on a game that you played in, or or wanted to throw a game.
Right.
You're not even playing in the season. You stepped away from the game, and then you decided to go gamble.
So,
Big deal. I see no issue at all with this.
No issue except for the fact that this is the worst bet of all time because he risked $1,500 and he lost $11 million off of that bet because he didn't have the right people around him who could steer him away from using his own damn phone.
If you're gonna lie, cheat, and steal, do it with burner phones. That's what we've learned today. You gotta.
Not that difficult. And then after that, don't talk about it. Don't tell anybody that you did it.
Don't get on Twitter and admit it either. He could have just shut his mouth, but here we are. All right, Tanner. Now that we got Calvin Ridley's takes out of the way with us, I wanted to get that done with right out the gates for you guys out there listening in YouTube land. Appreciate that very much.
I really didn't expect like burner phones and stuff being turned around.
Well, this was a great topic.
I think that's the best topic, maybe top 5 that we've ever had on this show. And we've been doing this for a while, by the way.
So, Tanner, you mean you can put in some clapping and such, but you couldn't put my damn pictures on there?
No, my computer won't run with your pictures, dude.
Boy. See, this is why we need upgrades,
Hey,
guys.
guys.
We need donations. Like, subscribe.
Subscribe, follow, like. Linktree has in our description below has all of our links, our Patreon, our Venmo.
Yeah.
Venmo. You guys hit us up. Make sure you follow, like, subscribe. We got a lot more content also.
And every penny we make off of this is going to go right back into
It goes
getting
back to the
Tanner
show.
a new computer.
We're just kidding. It actually goes right back into my burner phone.
Got to keep the burner phones alive and well. Guys, so Russell Wilson, Carson Wentz have been swapped around, sent off to new teams now at this point. Now, when I say swapped, I didn't mean it like that. And Aaron Rodgers, you guys, obviously has had some kind of an extension coming about here. They said originally, Ian Rappaport reported it was going to be 4 years, $200 million. Aaron Rodgers then said, okay, yes, he's coming back, but the terms of the agreement that were put out there are not correct. So I think that Pat McAfee was a little upset about that. He's like, hey, wait a minute. I had the news first, and no one gives a damn.
Well, of course not.
But that's okay. I think McAfee had the most accurate information because Rodgers himself was saying, wait a minute, Mr. Rappaport, this is not the correct numbers.
And Ian's one of Pat's guys too, So
Right. But with that said, I knew this was going to happen. I didn't know that it's going to be a 4-year extension, if that's correct. But I knew Rodgers would be back this year, so that's not a surprise to me at all. And the NFC North is looking pretty juicy for Rodgers going into next year because he also gets to keep Devontae Adams. And so Green Bay is happy and going to make a run once more. Thing is, Rodgers, next year when you make the playoffs, you got to perform, damn it. I'm tired of this shit. So, Jason, what do you have any thoughts on Rodgers' return?
I mean, it's a great move for the Packers and Aaron Rodgers. I mean, as you stated, it's a weak division, so that gives Aaron Rodgers the best chance to possibly make it back to a Super Bowl. The first thing I look at is the fact that, you've got a weak division over there. But the other thing I look at is the fact that all of these elite quarterbacks are over in the AFC. You look at the NFC side, now you're only got Aaron Rodgers, Matthew Stafford, and then Kyler and Dak Prescott. So we have a shortage of good quarterbacks in the NFC. But the next thing I'm looking for is, are the Packers going to try to move Jordan Love? Because if they do, I think if you put him into the pool...
Who cares about Jordan Love now?
Well, I mean, there's a lot of needy teams in the NFL.
Why is Jordan
especially
Love
in the
suddenly
NFC.
a spectacular addition to somebody?
Because we have a lot of desperate teams in the NFL that do not have a decent quarterback, and you have, free agents like Jameis Winston and Mitchell Trubisky. I think Jordan Love is just as good, probably, as those guys.
Give me a Gardner Minshew. Give me the mustache.
Well, I mean, if you're the Packers, though, I don't think you'd want to get rid of Love at this point. I mean, at this point, they're letting his career rot, which is, not good for him. But I don't know that he's really a guy that's expendable. Like,
No,
I mean, if something happens to Rodgers this year, maybe he gets COVID again all year long and has to play against the Chiefs every time. Jordan Love, obviously, last year against Kansas City was not very good. The reason the Chiefs won that game was because he sucked and the Rodgers was not playing. So I don't really think there's much to think about when it comes to Jordan Love right now.
No.
Except for the fact that they could get a second-round pick right now, and I think if you're the
I don't know if
Packers,
they go second.
It's almost like a car.
a
You know,
stretch,
as soon as you
man.
drive it off the lot, it depreciates in value.
I'll
If they
until
can-
now.
if they can get if
Maybe.
they can get a second-round pick, they need to trade him
If
right
they-
now
yeah.
because they got to go all in, man.
if they get a second round pick, yeah, trade
You got to
him.
go
Get him
all
out.
in.
But you
That's
ain't
the
get one.
theme.
No, man, this whole Rodgers debacle, like this is just gonna be an interesting thing the way the Packers team's shaped after the terms finally come into play and we finally get an idea. I mean, we're gonna see exactly what Green Bay is gonna be, but this alone, Aaron Rodgers coming back, Devontae coming back, you already have Jones in the backfield. Like, this sets up Green Bay to be pretty much your division winners for the next 3 years, 4 years, because Kirk Cousins sounds like he's on his way out the door. Nobody cares about the Bears, and Detroit has the chance to be the sleeper team in that division with the second-year coach of MCDC coming into play. So, I don't know, man. Like, this Packers team doesn't really have to work too hard to win the division. They more have to focus, like Mike said, on actually winning something in the playoffs.
Yeah, so, I mean, for me, the Rodgers thing is kind of like, hey, I'm glad he's back because he's good for the game of football. He's also 2 years in a row the MVP, so he's good for the sport and fun to watch play. So I'm just glad he's back for those reasons alone.
Same here. Same here.
Now, otherwise, guys, some things that I think are a little more juicy because that was a surprise is the Russell Wilson trade to the Denver Broncos, and then we found out that Carson Wentz is now with the Washington Commanders. I don't even like saying that word, Commanders.
Don't say
It's
it.
just the most awkward.
It'll
team
grow
name
onto you.
ever.
It'll
As
grow.
as
It's
we
like
go
football
forward,
team did.
I want to let you guys know I refuse to say that word. I will still call them the football team.
You know, you need
for
to
the
vote.
duration.
You
It'll
wanted the
grow
Red-
on you like the football team.
He wanted the Redcocks is what we wanted the name to be.
Oh, is that what it is?
That's
that
what he
makes
wanted the
sense.
name to be.
Instead of the Gamecocks, I wanted the Red
The
Cocks.
Redcocks.
The Redcocks.
Anyways, you guys, regardless of all that, Wilson in Denver now, I think he's still going to be the third best quarterback in the AFC West, and Derek Carr, with all his mascara, is going to be crying for, the next coming season. Once again, it's an ugly situation for the Raiders once again because, guys, I mean, the receiving group is still lackluster at the moment, and the defense isn't very good.
Is it?
No, not at
Is
all.
it?
No. But, guys, does this make Denver now a team to really watch for going forward, or is Wilson kind of the washed-up version of himself we saw pieces of last
I'm letting you
season?
start, Jason. I'm letting you start, man.
I do agree with you on the fact that Russell Wilson is the third best quarterback, although I do put Denver as the second best team in the AFC West. And that's because I look at that Denver defense. They were number 8 in yards last year, number 3 in points per game given up. And so I do think that he's got something to work with that defense. And I do see Denver as the second best team in the division, but I do think the trade was good for both sides because I think Seattle was at the point where they wanted to start over. Although I do think that if they're going to make that move, they need to go ahead and get as many assets as possible. Go ahead and trade DK Metcalf, get as many pieces as you can right now.
So that was actually being stated today. I believe the GM or one of the executives of Seattle came out and said this is not a rebuild. This is us just making money moves, essentially, is what they said, to build up our franchise again.
Well, to be
So
clear,
it's not a rebuild, but Tanner, it's a rebuild at the end
No,
of the day.
it's a
'cause
rebuild.
You're going to suck, okay?
Correct. It's a rebuild to everybody else, but to Seattle,
He
it's
shouldn't
not
be
a
lying
rebuild.
to the people. He's lying to the fans by saying that.
Yeah, I know.
well, I think it does
what
need
they
to be
do.
a rebuild, but you've got to do it the right way. If you've already got 2 first-round picks and 2 seconds and a 5th, you need to just go all in with that mindset and just go ahead and sell the farm and get as many picks as possible. That's how you're going to do
Well,
a proper rebuild.
The DK Metcalf right now, there's I'm talking about this later. There's an old Chiefs rumor, but he's worth at least a first round pick right now. And then you got Jamal Adams as well. That's a big contract he's on right now. I don't know that they can really move him, but they got some pieces they can try to get rid of to get accumulate more picks. And then there's Tyler Lockett as well. And I'm just curious what's going to happen with him because that's a guy who's I think 30 now at this point and really really productive player, but there's really no future for him on that team because by the time they do get to where they're going to be relevant again with a new quarterback and and so on, Lockett's going to be long gone. He'll be 34 and onto a different team or retired. So I just think they need to make some more moves here. They can't just sit with what they got currently because you're going to waste a lot of talent that you have by just sitting there. I think you just need to blow the whole thing up and be cool with
Blow it up, baby.
and just
blow it up.
Start it over, but do it the right way. And I do trust the Seahawks management to do it the right way. I think they have a great GM, and Pete Carroll is going to be gone by the time they're good again, but maybe he can be there to be part of.
No, he's only 70, man. He's going to stick around another 5-6 years.
Is he Joe Pa now? Is he Joe Paterno, coach until he's 90?
Well, I don't know about that much, but
pass away.
he can coach till 75, man.
At least all the players are above 18.
Unfortunately, he doesn't have Geno Smith to work with, so that might set him back a few.
Let's save Geno for a different day. We don't need to talk about Dewey's. Anyways, you guys, I'm looking forward to this. I think this brings a new element to the AFC West, and the Broncos have now lost 13 straight games to the Kansas City Chiefs. Last time they'd won, I like saying this, 2015, September 15th. And
You would know that if you looked at my TikTok.
Tanner, I look at your TikToks all the time. Okay,
You don't understand it.
I don't
That's why I run
understand.
the
I
account.
don't understand the TikToks and the book faces. Okay,
That's why I got to run this stuff.
yeah,
Grow
yeah,
up.
yeah.
Just grow up. You understand TikTok. Come on now.
Yeah, he says trends and he starts shaking his ass. So
It works.
Whatever, Tanner.
I like it.
Anyways, you guys, I'm looking forward to seeing that plans out because Broncos Chiefs are now an interesting matchup to watch. And so, in the past, it's like, hey, we're going to go out there and whoop their ass again, which we always did. And now it's like, this is going to be actually a very entertaining game. Chiefs-Broncos will be a primetime game this season for the first time, and I guess we did it last year, for the first time since last year. But anyways, at least it'll be something fun to watch, and I think Wilson will at least give a battle, unlike some of the things they've had in the past for Denver.
And what did we say? What did we say at the end of the year after that Week 17 game, essentially? The Broncos needed one thing. Quarterback.
Yeah, we all knew that.
Quarterback.
Yeah, of course. They got good receivers and a good defense
by the
and a good
way,
running game. Javonte Williams is an awesome running back.
Oh, yeah.
He's going to thrive with Russell Wilson.
Possibly Melvin Gordon might be back, I heard as well.
We'll
see. But did I hear you guys right saying Russell Wilson's the third best quarterback in our division?
That's correct, Tanner. That is correct.
He's not as good. He's
Oh, he's
not
gonna
as
put
good.
second best.
He's going to put him over Herbert.
Let's get it straight. He's not as good as Justin Herbert. However, the Broncos are a better team than the Chargers. So you got to specify
I agree with
okay?
that. I agree with Jason's take on this. I think the team. I actually
didn't say
right
my
now I will
thing.
say the Broncos are better than the Chargers as a team, but I do think Herbert's a better quarterback than Russell Wilson is going to give you, especially at this age in their careers. And Herbert's still getting better. So
I didn't save it, but essentially it was talking about the Seattle O-line being like the 21st worst in the NFL.
Pretty bad.
And the Denver Broncos was like the 9th best, something in that range. Like, you're telling me that you're going to give Russell Wilson an O-line now with receivers, still weapons, right? And now a running game that's going to be healthy with Javonte for the most part. That's a different one.
Tanner, he's still capped off. He's 34 years old and
Who
he's limited at this
cares?
point.
We're seeing people Brady perform
and
at
Herbert's
44.
25.
Aaron Rodgers is going to play till he's 42 at
That's
this
fine.
point.
I'm talking about you're comparing him
age
to
is
a
not matter.
rising star quarterback.
Justin Herbert is third best until he can actually get into the playoffs and prove something. Period.
And yet Russell Wilson hasn't won in the playoffs in 5 years.
But he won in the playoffs.
Yes, because he's 34
He
and
won.
been playing since 2012.
He still puts his team in contention. Justin Herbert chokes it out versus the Raiders.
Herbert's
in Week
played
17.
like 2 freaking seasons in the NFL, Tanner.
No, I'm not giving Herbert that 2 spot
Oh, my
until he
God.
proves it.
Oh my
Period.
god. No foresight from you at all, Tanner.
No, I'm not looking at Herbert as 2.
Awful.
He can't even beat the Raiders.
Tanner's
in
a
Week
man of the
17.
past.
I'm not going to give
Week
Russell
18.
Wilson. I can't give Russell Wilson a ton of credit here.
Is it just because he's old and
because
injured?
He won a damn Super Bowl against Peyton Manning when
The goat.
Peyton Manning was basically shitting himself and had
did his
nothing left
job.
in the tank.
Did his
okay? Not give him a ton of credit, but his team right now is a little bit better than the Chargers. So I'll give you Denver over the
yeah.
Chargers.
Yeah.
But Justin Herbert is a slightly better quarterback at this stage of the game than Russell Wilson.
So, with you saying that, now are we going to hear the preseason trends go from Chargers to Broncos as favored to win the division?
Not to
as
win
far
the
as to
division.
win the division?
No.
Yeah,
hell
well,
no.
it's usually the Chargers.
I do want to say something
now
about
is
the
it the
Chiefs
Denver?
real quick. Because the Chiefs the past few years have not actually really gotten better. across the board. This is the team that's kind of stayed the same as they were the last 2 or 3 years in a row now. But other teams in this division have gotten better. Like the Chargers have gotten better, the Broncos have gotten better, the Raiders are shitty, so screw them. But these teams have gotten better where the Chiefs have kind of stayed the same. Like I don't see the Chiefs defense like stepping up and starting to really become this great thing and slowly progressing into becoming something special. I kind of see them plateauing, and until we find a new playmaker at the edge rusher position, it's going to stay that way. The Chiefs have to make additions this offseason in one way or another to improve that defense as well as fix the WR2 position, because if they don't take care of these things, then it is very possible for a Chargers team to, which has been known to beat the Chiefs from time to time, go out and take control of the division at some point. I mean, they had that division wrapped up until the last few weeks of the year, and then the Chiefs started waking up and they took control, and then they beat the Chargers in the Thursday Night Football game. At that point, it was the Chiefs' division to lose. But this past season, I mean, the Chargers were in the lead throughout this entire thing until towards the end, and then the Chiefs came alive, rattled off a few wins in a row. And I'm just saying these teams are getting better. The Chiefs will stay the same, so the Chiefs have a lot of work to do to make sure they sustain that AFC West championship, because time could be running out on that because these guys are getting better right now.
I mean, it's signed Mike Williams to was it 4 years, $60 million?
Yeah, so it's good for them to keep Williams, and Keenan Allen's getting older, but still an effective player. Mm-hmm. So, do you guys have any thoughts on the Carson Wentz trade though? I'm not going to say the name again, but I personally don't really care.
Hey, Jason,
about this.
Well, Carson Wentz, I mean, it is what it is, right? So you're looking at the division that they're in. So the football team, who do they have? Taylor Heineken. I like to say Heineken because it's one of my favorite beers. I don't know. Who are you going to throw in there besides Heineken? You're going to throw in Carson Wentz? That's great.
Every time.
Okay? So that particular division, I think the football team could do a few things if they have Carson Wentz in there, right? He's not the same guy that he used to be when he was in the MVP running early in his career, but when you're the football team, you want to see what he's got left in the tank. And when you're going up against teams like the Dallas Cowboys, Philadelphia Eagles, who cares? You might get lucky and, catch lightning in a bottle and win the division. And I think they have lower expectations than the rest of the league. They're not out there trying to win the Super Bowl. They're just trying to have a stopgap in finding a quarterback like Carson Wentz. And so if they can grab Carson Wentz, and if he pans out for a year or two, well, you might get lucky and win the division. But I think their goals are a little bit different than teams like the Chiefs and the Rams and the Broncos who have elite quarterbacks. And so I think Carson Wentz is a good fit for the football team. And again, I refuse to call them the Commanders, but I think it's a situation where let's throw them on the football team and see what happens.
Yeah, I think that the thing with this is that they're trying to stay relevant. This is a trade that is not going to get you anywhere, but it's also not going to put you at the bottom of the barrel either. Because Carson Wentz is a guy who doesn't turn the ball over a lot historically, and you can win with him. But he also just had the best running back in the entire league, and the team was frustrated with him. The Colts were frustrated with Carson Wentz and his abilities, or I should say limitations, is probably a better way to put it. And so I think that's something to look forward to with the Commanders as well. That's right, I said it again. But they need a good running game over there for this to work out, because otherwise, you're going to be thrown to Terry McLaurin, but you got to have more weapons than that. You got to have more guys involved in that whole offense to get open. And when I say open, I mean very open, because he does not throw in tight windows. And so it's going to be frustrating as fans to watch this guy. I think what you're seeing right now is what you just said. It's a stopgap. It's a bridge to the new era at some point. But that new era is not on the team currently. That new era is a year or two from now, and then they're going to draft somebody or make some other kind of move. But this is a way to make them relevant for now, but not for more than a year or two.
And here's what they saw when the football team made this move. They saw a guy in Carson Wentz who had really good numbers in the regular season. But the problem with guys like Carson Wentz is they don't show up in the playoffs. I mean, Carson Wentz lost to the Jacksonville Jaguars towards the end of the year. And so he had really good numbers in the regular season, but he's not a guy that's going to take you to the promised land come playoff time, and so maybe that's their goal. Maybe the football team just wants to be relevant, but they don't want to. It doesn't take much.
How do we know he doesn't show up for the playoffs if he hasn't played in a playoff game?
It doesn't matter. My point is
that is a point there. You have to play in a playoff game to show in the playoffs.
My point is, if you're in the NFC East, you just have to produce in the regular season, and that's it.
So, great point, right? So the NFC East, obviously, anybody can make the playoffs in there. Hell, Amari Cooper supposedly called Prescott the Black Kirk Cousins, and that was a big debacle on that final playoff game. So that was kind of interesting. Apparently, that's why Amari Cooper started getting talking trade talks, supposedly, from what I've seen. So, but Tyler Heineke, or Taylor Heineke, whatever.
Taylor Heineken.
Heineken. Sorry,
Say it like the beer.
Taylor Heineke for the Commanders. He almost led that team to a playoff berth after Fitzpatrick went down early in the season. This is a whole upgrade. Washington was going to go out and get a veteran quarterback no matter what. Russell Wilson obviously wasn't going to go there because he was going to take his veto on that one. They asked Patrick Mahomes. They were willing to give up probably the next 10 years of first-round picks for Patrick Mahomes. Obviously, that wasn't happening. So they were making calls around the league. Who was shopping? The Colts were, because they're ready for their sixth quarterback in the last 7 years for the inconsistency rate that franchise is. But I digress. That team almost went to a playoff berth with Heineken. They're going to go to the playoffs with freaking
Tanner, it's in
Carson
the
Wentz.
NFC East. Oh my God! That
defense
you could wake
was
up tomorrow
hurt.
and start coaching a team and make the playoffs, Tanner.
You can?
In the NFC East?
No, you can't.
Yes, that's a shitty division. We all know that, but
Well, the Cowboys should have been in
nothing
3
to be
years
excited
ago.
about.
Or
And
2 years ago.
And what kind of record were we looking at for them to make the playoffs, Tanner?
Oh, you're usually a 10-win team.
No. Oh my God.
10-win team.
Here's the thing, guys. The football team gave up 2 third-round picks, all right, for Carson Wentz.
One could be a second-rounder.
There's no guarantee that he's even going to be the starter or win that job or not get injured. We all know the injury history of Carson Wentz.
Injury is an issue.
Mark my words. I'm not going to be shocked if Taylor Heineken is the starter for the entire season. Okay? Because I don't trust Carson Wentz to even be healthy. So, yeah, great. They gave up 2 third-round picks. They're making a dart throw. That's great. Who knows what's going to happen? But Taylor Heineke could still be the starter the whole year.
I thought it was a great
It may
trade.
not change anything.
I thought it was a great trade for both sides.
Yes,
I'm happy
you
for
love
the Colts.
shitty quarterbacks, Tanner. That's why it's a great trade.
It's not
for
shitty
you.
quarterback.
Can we just
I'm sorry.
go down the list real quick of shitty quarterbacks that Tanner loves? Can we start with Sam Darnold or
Ben Roethlisberger?
Can we put situation based into it, or are you just going to name them?
No, I'm pretty
think
sure
Tanner
those.
likes Baker Mayfield too.
I do not like Baker Mayfield.
No, I'm pretty sure.
By the way, Baker Mayfield is linked to a possible trade of the Colts after this done.
That's fine.
season.
Don't try to change the subject. I'm pretty sure your 2 front runners for MVP at the beginning of this year were Big Ben and Sam
No.
Darnold. Don't
Big
try
Ben-
to deny it.
Big Ben
Hey,
was. I never said Big Ben.
Don't try to deny it.
You weren't
okay?
thinking 2 years ago.
You're on the record. I'll pull the tapes.
Well, we'll pull situational base later. Okay.
All right, guys. Everyone, get your panties under control here. We have a few more topics to go over, and we have a free agent game we're going to do with you guys too. So, what is that random child cheering noise, Tanner?
Hey, it's just some cool stuff they just added.
Good Lord. Okay. Anyways, guys, let's speak for just a few minutes here about the Chiefs' free agent outlook because next week, March 16th, will be the new league year, which means all the free agents are then available to be had. And we'll see the tampering period. Ooh, the tampering period is now going to be allowed and it's legal. So the Chiefs obviously have a few things they need to get figured out. A lot of older veteran defensive ends on the list, which is super sad to see that because I want some youth. I like them young and fresh. But, there's still some guys out there that can be productive for at least 1 or 2 years for this team. I love that Bobby Wagner for the Seahawks is now available. He was released here just a couple days ago. Or was it last night?
Last night.
Released last night.
It was the same day Russell Wilson and Bobby Wagner became a Seahawk the same day, and they left on the same day.
Isn't that cute? Great couple. So I would love to have Bobby Wagner in Kansas City because I think that would be a great trio of linebackers between Bolton and Willie Gay, and then help those younger guys too
Just a vet
get better.
presence.
And then the Chiefs are going to be losing Tyron Matthew, so for me, it's like Wagner right away stops in and has a lot of experience, and as a leader too on being on a team. Boom! Right away, you have that automatic guy on the field you know you can trust and control the defense. I would love that addition. But otherwise, you guys have a few guys in mind. Now, we've seen Chris Godwin got the franchise tag. Mike Williams is off the board. And let's see, who else has been removed? There's been a couple other guys too. But anyways, free agent outlook. I'm looking to see what kind of moves the Chiefs make, because there is a rumor out there, you guys, that the Chiefs... Now, this guy's probably full of shit. But the Chiefs have made a trade, giving up their first-round pick, 30th overall, and their third-round pick this year for DK Metcalf. And this guy he goes by Judge Reed on Twitter or something like that. Is that right?
Yeah.
Judge Reed on Twitter has been posting this nonsense. And how would you guys feel about this? Because actually earlier, something me and you talked about, Jason, kind of changed my mind on this whole thing, because I would love nothing more than to see DK Metcalf as a Chief, as a WR2 who also has WR1 potential any given moment. And the reason I actually don't think this would work out is because they're going to receive, in this case, a first round and a third round pick for DK, but it's a 1-year rental. You'd get DK Metcalf for 1 year next year, play through that, but then the Chiefs aren't going to be paying Tyreek Hill this extension and then be paying DK Metcalf a huge contract the coming season after that. So I'm just like, would we want to give up a first and a third for 1 year rental? I changed my entire thought about this after you said that, Jason. I was like, well, that's a great point, and I'm now against the idea of that trade, so I'm hoping this guy really is full of shit. So what do you guys think about this whole thing?
Well, here's my thing about 1 year rentals, okay? I don't care about draft picks, and the reason why I don't care about draft picks anymore is because the LA Rams just won the Super Bowl, okay? So if I have to give up a first and a third round pick for a DK Metcalf rental and I'm going to win the Super Bowl next year, I don't care. The difference is I want to go a little bit deeper than that. I want to fix two positions. And I know everybody's up in arms because we're losing Tyron Matthew, and I understand like we need to shore up that safety position. That's great, but I'm going to give you guys a proposal here. My proposal is that we fix two positions on this team, and I don't care about the rest, okay? I want you to focus in on fixing the wide receiver position, and that could be DK Metcalf with the 1 year rental that we talked about, and then I want to fix edge rusher. And I don't care how many picks we give up. If I can fix those two positions, and you guys understand we are in an offensive league right now, where the only thing that matters is we've got a great offense and we can get to the other team's quarterback. Would you not trade away as many picks as you can to fix those two positions to win one Super Bowl? Because that's where I'm at right now. The LA Rams just won the Super Bowl, and they don't give a shit about draft picks, okay? Patrick Mahomes is going to be around for a long time, guys. If I can get a Super Bowl win next year, I'm not too concerned about the next 2 to 3 years after that. We can worry about that later. What do you guys think about that?
I think I agree with most of what you say there. I think edge rusher, though, is the key there. I'm not willing to sacrifice adding more to the offense if it means we can't add more to the defense. Giving up that first-round pick for Metcalf is the first-round pick I want to use towards getting that edge rusher that we need. And so it's kind of, you want to pick your poison here or whatever, apples and oranges kind of deal. But I prefer, in this case, getting the edge rusher figured out, because that is what hindered us the most throughout the playoffs. And I think that's going to be the biggest thing to look back on, is that this offense will be good no matter what, with Patrick Mahomes and, even Travis and Tyreek Hill. No matter what, this will still be a good offense throughout this entire coming season. And as long as you're really top 10 on offense, that's good enough. You can win with that. But defensively, you have to be solid. You have to be able to get pass rush for you to be successful in this league. And I mentioned this, I think, last week about the Burrow thing. And the Titans had 9 sacks. The Rams had, I think, 7 or 8 sacks in that game in the Super Bowl. And then the Chiefs, when we played them, could barely touch the guy on Joe Burrow. And so I just think that's probably my priority if I was going to be a GM in this case. And I would put that towards a D end I could keep for more than 1 year. I'd want it to be, a 25-year-old defensive end that I could have on this team for, give him an extension at some point for the next, 4 or 5 seasons after this. Where a DK, I feel like, is truly a 1-year thing, and you've lost your first-round pick, going forward for the future. So, anyway, that's my thought.
Yeah, I'm kind of on the same page as you there. I'm not really worried about the offense, truly. I could care less. I'm more defense because that's where we're losing everybody, essentially. Like, I would like to see us go out for a veteran presence. Wagner would be great. A Chandler Jones. I think Chandler Jones would probably be too high, though, for us on there. I'd rather go after Calais Campbell, Akeem Hicks on that line, even a Jerry Hughes I'd take probably for a cheaper deal on that side. Anthony Barr's out there you could probably get a cheap deal on and still be effective. Jordan Hicks. Ogba coming into play again. Ogba would be great to have back, I think. And then also, I'm still sticking with my Marcus May. You can get that guy probably for a prove-it deal to make sure you can stay out of trouble on the secondary, because that's where we're going to be hurting. It's going to be secondary with that Ward and Matthew, possibly Watts if he doesn't resign. So, I don't know. I'd rather stay on the defensive side, like you said on that. I'm okay. I'm not okay trading that first-round pick because I want to use it for a defensive player.
Right, so we basically just said the same exact thing then. So it makes sense. Okay, so just kind of
Stack the
way you would kind of
just remember who we're facing now. We have to do a Russell Wilson who likes to go out of the pocket. You got a Justin Herbert who stands in that pocket and will fire that ball. And then you just rush Derek Carr and he'll toss it up in the air.
Right. Derek Carr, I'm not worried about. But yeah, I just think we just need to fix that edge rush thing one way or the other and get that figured out. So
correct.
So rolling from that, you guys, now that we kind of covered that for a second, we should play a game with the current free agent list and mix and match where we think some of these guys should end up and the best fits for where they should go starting next week. Now we have, I think, 6 or 7 guys on our list here we're going to talk about. First and foremost, I want to talk about Allen Robinson, wide receiver coming from Jacksonville originally, then the Chicago Bears for a couple years, injured last season. But I think that he would be a great fit, actually, with the Cleveland Browns. And I like this because of the absence of Odell Beckham, obviously leaving the team last year. And it's a pretty lackluster wide receiver group. So unless you're going to blow the whole thing up, then if you keep Baker Mayfield, as I'm still expecting, then you got to have some more weapons for this guy to work. He needs all the help he can get. And I think Robinson could help bring this team closer back to a top 10 offense because that running game is the best in the entire league. So just get him some more big-bodied guys like that. I like Robinson with the Browns, and they have a lot of cap room to make that work. So Robinson, where is he going to end up, guys?
I mean, I like him on the Browns. I mean, the first thing that came to my mind was, he's a native of Detroit, and we all know that Jared Goff needs some damn help over there because he's really not that good. You've got Amon-Ra St. Brown as a breakout candidate next year, and I would like to see. Pretty good. I'd like to see Allen Robinson opposite Amon-Ra St. Brown, and so that's my best fit for Allen Robinson.
I like that Detroit one actually.
That fits well.
They blow up, dude. They blow up.
I like that one. Yeah, works.
This guy. So I do like the Browns one only if they keep Jarvis Landry. Allen Robinson.
Right.
Yeah, Allen Robinson to me is a guy that can't be the star of the team. Let's just say that. Can't be the star wide receiver. We kind of saw it there with the Bears where he kind of was more of a decoy for most of the year last year while Mooney kind of blew up. I see Robinson actually fitting and taking a deal with the Cowboys. I think with Gallup resigning, Amari Cooper possibly on the move, you're going to see a 3-headed monster of Robinson, CD, and Gallup possibly in that play because Gallup's going to be gone for most of the year. You got to remember this because he got injured on that playoff game. Mm-hmm. So I could see Robinson signing possibly a Dallas Cowboy, maybe a 1 or 2 year deal with those guys, and just to be on that squad and also be on a contender as well.
That sounds like a broken monster, Tanner. You said 3-headed. 2 of those heads are
2.5.
2 of those
2.5
are broken necks. Between Gallup and Allen Robinson in that case. So next on my list, guys, is Chandler Jones. Now, he is 32 right now, almost 33.
It's a tough one,
I would love to see Chandler Jones at KC, but he's going to want too much money for this deal to get done, and I don't think it's going to happen. So where he's going to end up is with a team who's top 10 in the cap room right now, and I see this team doing the same damn thing they did back in 2013, back when they got Peyton Manning. I see them trying to load up with these old veterans and try to make a push for Super Bowl caliber roster. I like him going to Denver. He's there with Russell Wilson now, so that's going to be a good team. And adding to that defense to make them a top 5 defense for next season would be ideal. So I love Chandler Jones to Denver.
I tell you what, as a Chiefs fan, I hope to God that doesn't happen, which is why I have him going to the Pittsburgh Steelers, because they also have a lot of cap space. And if you pair Chandler Jones up with TJ Watt and another player that I would just gonna like to throw out there right now, I think Deshaun Watson is going to the Steelers as well. That's just my prediction. You can call it a hot take or whatever you want, but if you throw Deshaun Watson on there and you get Chandler Jones, that's a heck of a team. I do want to see more elite quarter. In case you guys haven't noticed on this show, I want all of the elite quarterbacks in the AFC. I don't care what happens to the NFC.
I don't know. I've been hearing the Sean going to Minnesota thing, so we'll see.
Well, Pittsburgh likes guys who like to do illegal things to women, so he would fit in great over there.
I hadn't heard that. Maybe you can enlighten me after the show on that.
Anyways, I see Chandler Jones going to the Dolphins. They are starting to build a contender down there. I think that's going to be their focus here in the next couple of years. Yeah. And they are looking for a guy, a veteran presence in that linebacking core needed. And I think Chandler Jones is going to be one of those guys that could potentially land in a warm weather team. He's coming from Arizona, who's warm weather. Why not go to Miami, where it's warm weather?
Welcome to Miami, Tanner. Nice. That's not bad. I like that one, too, quite a bit. That's a good one. And they have a lot of cap room. And I think that'd be a great fit, really. Good place to retire, apparently, too. So I like the Dolphins a lot next year, you guys. I went on a rant about this a few weeks ago about the Dolphins, and I got a big boner for them next year. So adding them to that team will only make it even better.
Win the division?
I have them coming close to winning the division as of currently this very moment. Speaking of big boners, you guys, I do have a big boner for Bobby Wagner to the Chiefs. That's my pick for him right now. And I don't really know that this is going to happen. I have this vision in my head of him mentoring Willie Gay and Nick Bolton and just watching that thrive and having him 2 years, because I miss Derek Johnson so goddamn much that I miss seeing some of that veteran presence and some of the playmaking ability of what Wagner can provide. Even at 32, I just want a 2-year deal, because by the time he's 34, it'll be about done. And I just think the veteran leadership of replacing Matthew, as I talked about earlier, is the most important factor here, because, guys, once Matthew's gone, someone has to step up. And nothing better than bringing in a guy like a Super Bowl winner, Bobby Wagner, to be your veteran on defense.
And I would love to see him come to the Chiefs. That would be my first choice. I think the best fit for him would be to go to the Patriots, because I think the Patriots, Bill Belichick, they just want a playmaker on that team. He's only going to cost $7 to $10 million, and they just cut Kyle Van Noy, so I think the Patriots might be in play for Bobby Wagner.
I actually like that Patriots pick there.
Yep.
So I have actually 2 teams I'm tied with contention-wise. Arizona would be one. They're losing Chandler Jones, but they're looking possibly somebody to fill in that area, somebody who knows the division really well. Bobby Wagner could come into play. The other one is not a contender, but a new head coach is coming into play. New York Giants, guys. Is it DeBall?
Yeah, Brian DeBall.
DeBall, thank you. DeBall.
DeBalls.
Dabble.
DeBalls. I call him
Brian
DeBalls.
He's a former Chiefs offensive coordinator, Tanner.
Correct. Wasn't he part of that really bad offense we had?
Yes, back in 09.
So I feel like he's looking for some veteran presence on that team this upcoming year as he figures out trying to help the Giants out. Mara will be supportive as well. I could see Wagner possibly getting signed for a little bit more money going into the Giants area, just a lead linebacker back there. Mm-hmm. So that's a possibility. Mm-hmm. But it all depends on his attitude in the end. Contender or not really.
He wants to go to a contender, Tanner. You know how guys get at
Arizona,
that age.
baby.
So that makes sense. He needs to go somewhere that's going to be winning this coming season. So moving on to the next guy on my list here. Somehow the Patriots always let cornerbacks leave, and it's the strangest thing to me.
Time.
J.C. Jackson is one of the best free agent prospects we've had in quite a while, really since the last time Stephon Gilmore was. And he had 23 passes defense this past season, 8 interceptions in 2021. He is the most sought-after quarterback by far, and he's still young. So, guys, for this one, I have a weird one for you, but I like the Raiders to make this pickup because, first of all, working back with Josh McDaniels again, obviously, Daniels worked a different side of the ball, but as a head coach, so there's familiarity there within coaching staff, and I think the Raiders also see the additions, what's going on in the AFC West between, with Wilson and Herbert and Mahomes, and they know they're not going to be able to win shootouts with any of these teams. The best thing they can do is try to slow them down. So the Raiders at this point are just like, all right, we just got to play defense. We know Derek Carr's going to shit the bed, so let's just try to hold them down to like under 20 points. And so adding J.C. Jackson was going to be a lockdown corner, and I like that addition for the Raiders to help their sorry asses out.
Well, one way or the other, he is coming to the AFC West. I actually have him coming to the LA Chargers because they've got a lot of cap space, and he's worth about $20 million a year. So I think the Chargers are going to make a play for him. And, I mean, let's be honest. They need a damn playmaker, right? We like to talk about playmakers on this show. The Chargers need a damn playmaker. So I got him going to the LA Chargers.
Team that's willing to spend money, guys. Spend money, and they're going to probably land, I'd say, 2 or 3 big free agents this season. New York Jets. They're going to be willing to spend the money for this guy because they're trying to improve their team, obviously. Obviously, they got a lot more to do. Protect Zach Wilson, for God's sakes. But J.C. Jackson should be on the top of their list, and I think he is.
Interesting. All right, guys. Our favorite one probably of the day here, Tyron Matthew, free agent from the Kansas City Chiefs. He is out of here, I believe, and he's got his little salty attitude all about him all the time. So
you're so mad.
He's a little turd. Oh, my God.
He's fine.
He's a baby.
Let him be.
He's an immature little baby is what he is. And he'll always be that way, you guys. He's been that way his whole career. Going back to LSU, Houston Texans, Cardinals, all the time. That's why he's left all these different teams. Great players with good attitudes do not leave teams. See Larry Fitzgerald, for instance. Doesn't go anywhere. Great player, great attitude.
Yeah.
Tyron Matthew, good player, kind of a shithead.
Yeah.
I like him with the Baltimore Ravens. And because they have massive holes at the safety position, and Matthew is also a versatile player. He can play the nickel when needed, and their nickel right now is not good. Last year they had a ton of injuries in the secondary, and I think that adding him to the defensive backfield, I should say, is going to be great for that team. And the Ravens will then be propelled to be back into being a playoff team once again. But they'll pay him, and he'll be happy for probably a year, and then he'll start crying again like he does everywhere else he goes. So just give him time, and he'll be a baby once again.
Yeah, I agree with you on that one, Mike. The Ravens were 32nd last year in pass defense, and my whole idea here is that you could throw a former Chief on the damn Ravens over there with Marcus Peters, and those two can play together.
They can talk shit about the Chiefs together. Yeah,
talk shit about the Chiefs.
There you go. I like that.
I agree on the Ravens. The only other team I would throw out there would be the Titans.
Okay, that could be a good fit. But the safety position, I mean, Kevin Byard's a phenomenal player.
Yeah, but I mean, they probably still want to you have a 2-headed monster in their safety part.
He likes a lot of monsters, with multiple heads.
Dude, I'm telling you, just combo it up.
He just likes monsters, it's like double-sided dildos or something. All right, Tanner, you happy over there?
Watch your mouth.
So bad. God.
Gee, man.
I forgot we were doing a show.
We're
all right, guys. Next one, last one on the list here, Juju Smith-Schuster.
Boo.
Interesting one right here. I think this is a guy that still came into the league with a lot of talent and a lot of upside, and who might never really live up to that due to also an immaturity issue and a little bit of an overinflated ego, much like we just talked about with Matthew. I like the Patriots, and the reason I like the Patriots as that fit is because they do have some issues at receiver as far as quality talent on that team. But I like that Bill Belichick is a guy who's taken in players like him in the past and molded them into becoming better people and maybe settle his ass down a little bit. And I'll tell you what, Belichick's not going to allow TikToking at midfield and all his other antics. That is not the Belichick way. So I like Belichick to straighten him out and make him productive for what Mac Jones. I was in Mac Jones.
Mac Jones.
Mac Jones. What Mac Jones can do.
Jones!
Even though he's not a downfield passer, which this past few seasons he's been playing with Ben Roethlisberger. So I think Juju's used to seeing noodle arms throwing the ball his way.
Yeah, just to be clear here, Juju Smith-Schuster, he likes to go wild. He goes wild on TikTok. And, there's a lot of people out there that would love to see Juju on the Chiefs, but I actually agree with you, Mike. There's only one guy. Andy Reid can't fix this guy.
No.
It's got to be Bill Belichick. He's got to teach him the Patriot way, and that's the only guy on earth that can fix him. So I've got him going to the Patriots
it's funny,
as well.
We both agreed in the last two, and you're right about Reid because Reid is a guy who's a wonderful coach, a player's coach. Everyone respects him, and he also lets players be themselves.
Right. We don't want that. I don't want that bullshit with Juju.
We don't want Juju to be himself. We want Juju.
No, hell no.
You yourself is a little shitty head, and we don't want that no more. So Belichick's over there like, game over, boy. You're gonna learn how to play.
Yes.
Please try not to use the word boy.
Oh my God.
Okay?
Yes.
Just be a little bit careful over there. Okay?
Yes.
Boy. Okay.
No. Yes.
I'll remember that.
A little careful.
Oh.
Yes. Patriots. Yes. This screams Patriots.
Yeah.
Juju screams Patriots. Not for your reasoning though. He doesn't need fixed. He needs somebody to help him escalate his game to a better level. I don't care about his TikToks. I really don't. I think it's dumb to do it at midfield before a game because then you're just asking for that defense to give you a late hit. I don't care about that stuff. Be yourself. I'm all for it. But damn, like if you put him with Bill Belichick, not only is he going to be the star receiver of that squad, then all of a sudden he hasn't like. Well, I know Josh McDaniels is gone. It's a huge piece, but like I think it escalates his game to then be a receiver that hey, we might want this guy here in a couple of years when he's a free agent again, maybe. But I think Bill Belichick is the right fit for it, regardless.
Well, it's funny. We all agreed in the last two players we talked about, all the same team. That's cool. So, anyways, guys, that was our little free agent game. I hope you played along with us. And if you listened to leave a comment down below about where you think the best situational players should go or where they could wind up on your opinion there. Guys, NBA stuff, Lakers, Nets. Let's get that out of our system for just a moment before we wrap up the show.
Did you guys see that Scottie Pippen Jr.
No, but I saw the Suns
points?
won, so that's all I cared about.
All right, go ahead.
Go.
Right. So a lot of things going on with the NBA right now. It just seems like you look at the standings every day, it's constantly changing, right?
Yes.
We don't know who the number 1 or the number 2 seed is. We don't care. We want to know what's going to happen at the end. But at the same time, we have the two odds-on favorites in the preseason at the bottom of the barrel.
Yep.
So I want to have a conversation with you guys about the Brooklyn Nets and the LA Lakers because those two teams were the odds-on favorites to win their conferences, their respective conferences at the beginning of the year, and now they've kind of fallen on tough times. And so it's kind of just a question I want to ask you guys. Who do you think is going to make it farther in the playoffs, or do you think they're going to even make it past the play-in games? And so we're talking about the LA Lakers, Brooklyn Nets. Let's start off with the Lakers right now, Tanner, because right now they are the number 9 seed, and they've got LeBrick and Russell Westbrook. You know, we talked about Russell Westbrook. He got offended the other day because of the way they said his name. I've said it on this show for I don't know how long. But it's a circus show. And now all of a sudden, they've called in Phil Jackson as an advisor.
Bring in the big dog.
Yeah, they got to bring in the big dogs because it's a circus show. They don't know how to fix it. So Phil Jackson's in there being an advisor to the team. And, you know, Russell Westbrook, and I'm going to cease on this show right now. I'm not going to call him Westbrook anymore, okay? Russell Westbrook is not a bad player. But as we all know, he is a bad fit for this team, okay? And you look at the seedings right now, there's a chance that the Lakers, if they can make it past the play-in, they could have a shot at playing Memphis in the first round. And so I don't see the Lakers as a team that are done. You know, you watch the media every day, they're saying the Lakers are done, this is a joke. And for me, it's not over because I could see a path for them to potentially beat Memphis in the first round of the playoffs. If they can somehow get the 7 seed, Memphis is currently the 2. I think the ceiling for the Lakers is to win that first round and then probably lose to Golden State in the second round. But I I've got to stop talking trash on Russell Westbrook. That is my goal. And the reason why is because
You won't be able to do that.
I can do it because I was sitting in the stands in the 2010 rookie-sophomore game at the All-Star Weekend in Dallas when Russell Westbrook put up 40 points in that game. And I saw this guy, his second year in the league, and I thought, this guy is going to be something special. And frankly, I'm just getting sick and tired of watching the news every day, and all they want to do is talk trash on this guy. So I'm going to change the narrative here. I am all in on Russell Westbrook, and I don't care if he improves with the Lakers. I want to see him either improve with the Lakers or go to another team after this year and go back to being Russell Westbrook, because he's not that old, guys. He averaged, do you guys understand what this means? He averaged a triple-double for 3 years.
Yeah.
Historically, he is on the level with Oscar Robertson.
Correct.
You know what that means? He's a top 10 player, maybe top 15 in the history of the game.
Everybody has bad years.
So I'm going to put a stop to that shit right now. No more trashing Russell Westbrook on this show. It doesn't fit with LeBron because he doesn't have the same usage that he's had with the rest, as far as the rest of his career is concerned. But I'm going to stop trashing him. And, whatever happens with the Lakers, that we don't know what's going to happen with the Lakers this year, but Russell Westbrook is not the problem. It's just not a good fit with LeBron James. But as far as the Lakers are concerned, what do you guys think about that? Because I don't think they're done. I could potentially see them winning a playoff series this year.
No. I don't think they make it to the play-in. I really don't. You have 18 games left. Six are against basically non-playing teams. 6. Everybody else is either playing or already seeded. Okay? You finish your season with the Lakers facing where's it start here? It starts with the Cleveland. From March 21st, you have Cleveland. You have potentially your next crappy game is April 8th with Oklahoma City. And then you finish with Denver. Everybody else in between is either playing or above. If LeBron is not scoring 56 points a game like he had to the other day, you're not winning this thing. There is nobody on that team. And I don't care if Russell Westbrook comes out to play. You are not winning that schedule.
All right. So, Tanner, let me give you a hypothetical here.
Give me a
Let's just
hypothetical.
say Anthony Davis comes back healthy, okay?
Are we talking 90 or above?
Anthony Davis is healthy, okay?
Okay.
In the next week and a half. LeBron James is healthy. Right now, the Lakers are the 9 seed. So I want you to give me 2 teams that are going to knock them out, because right now the Lakers are the 9. The New Orleans Pelicans are the 10, and Portland is on the outside looking in. So if you're telling me that they're not even going to make the play-in, I want you to give me 2 teams that are going to knock them out. Because right now, they're going to make the play-in.
Trailblazers or Spurs. Basically, whoever has a better schedule at the end will knock them out. They all have a little easier schedules than the Lakers have. Pelicans, if they play the Pelicans stay in. With CJ McCollum right now, that team is fire. Clippers are having Paul George come back. Possibly Leonard before we know it. Who knows on that part. I don't see none of those 2 teams going out. Because the New Orleans has been just nonstop since the All-Star break. They've had a couple games against better teams that show that that team was better. Outside of that, they've been dominant. I don't see how you can kick the Pelicans out.
That's very interesting. So you have the Lakers full on imploding.
I have the Lakers not even a chance, dude.
That's crazy.
Unless LeBron sits here and carries that team with 56 points, 50 to 60 points a game, that team ain't doing nothing, dude.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Their schedule, when you have Phoenix, you have Denver, Dallas on multiple nights throughout your 18 games, you're in trouble.
I feel like you and I need to bet a bottle on that. What's your favorite bottle? You and I need to go
we'll
bottles
go Forrester,
on that.
dude.
Forrester?
Yeah.
Bottle of Forrester that the Lakers don't even make the play in. All right, here we go. I'm in. Moving on to the Brooklyn Nets. So right now they are the number 8 seed. And if we're comparing them to the Lakers, I do believe that the Nets have a much better chance not to just make the play-in, but to actually win a couple of playoff series. And part of that is due to the fact when you look at the Eastern Conference, you know, everybody respects the Philadelphia 76ers and the Bucks, but you got a lot of other teams at the top of the East. You got Miami, Boston, Cleveland. I mean, I think the Nets have a legitimate chance to go deep in the playoffs this year. Right now, they're the number 8 seed. You've got a couple of guys injured on the team. So LaMarcus Aldridge, he's got a hip injury. Joe Harris is done for the season. But I love the roster. If I compare this roster to the Lakers roster, it's much better because the Nets have Seth Curry, Patty Mills, Durant, Kyrie, Ben Simmons. Kyrie actually put up 15 points the other day, and everybody's talking trash on Ben Simmons. So I feel like as much as I want to defend Russell Westbrook on this show, I got to defend Ben Simmons because he's a 3-time All-Star. All right? Now, he might have some mental health issues, although we don't know what's going on with his mental health. But if he comes back and plays, he's a 3-time All-Star, a 2-time first-team All-Defensive player. What's one of the biggest weaknesses on the Nets is their defense? Well, they don't have that problem anymore as long as Ben Simmons comes back healthy because he's going to guard the opposite team's best player, and he's not going to have a problem with doing that. So Andre Drummond is also a great defensive player, and so, you know, I could see a scenario where the Brooklyn Nets make it to the Eastern Conference Finals. Now, I don't know if they could make it farther than that, but I'm not going to be shocked if they go to the Eastern Conference Finals. What do you think about that, Tanner?
That's a tough one, dude, because I wouldn't touch with the Bucks, Sixers, and the Heat playing the way they are. That's gonna be a tough one to overfill to the conference finals. My biggest question is when is Ben Simmons returning? That's all I want to know. Outside of that, your next what I count here, 10 out of 18 games is at home. Is Kyrie playing? I know they lifted some mandates, but they haven't lifted all of them. So,
I tell you what, I do
that's a
think
big one.
I do think that those mandates are going to be gone by the time it comes playoff time.
Well, that's fine,
And
playoff time, but you have 10 out of 18 games. I'm not as worried about them as the Lakers, but when is Ben Simmons returning? Durant's going to have to carry that team pretty much all the way through to playoff time. You know what I mean? Granted, it's not as hard of a schedule as the Lakers have it. It really isn't. But the issue is when you get to playoff time, Durant going to be worn down? Are we going to get a repeat of last year?
I don't think Kevin Durant's going to be worn down because he's just now coming back. And who do you have to beat?
But that's the issue. He's been injury prone the last couple of years.
You got
this year, last year, and that's the issue. If he's injury prone, just because you sit out and you're, rehabbing or whatever, doesn't mean you're resting the entire time. That's the issue here. We got to remember is these guys aren't just sitting around on their couch with ice on their knee. They are out rehabbing. They're working their bodies. And this is I'm worried about putting this workload on Durant this late in the season going to playoff time.
I just think they're a dangerous team
they
right
are.
now.
They can be.
They're the number 8 seed, and guess who number 9 and 10 are? It's the Charlotte Hornets and the Atlanta Hawks.
Nobody cares about them.
So
Toronto can go away too.
They are a dangerous team, and if KD is fully healthy and Kyrie is fully healthy playing in all the games, guess what, guys? They don't need Ben Simmons in the first round. They will destroy whoever they're playing against unless it's Philly or the Bucks. If they end up playing Philly or the Bucks in the first round, that's going to be a problem. But anybody else,
I'm worried about the Heat in them.
They're going at it. They would destroy Miami.
I don't know if they would destroy Miami. If Jimmy Butler and all those guys, Kyle Lowry's playing on a different level this year, like he was similar a couple of years ago with Toronto. With him being on that point guard and Jimmy Butler, if some of those guys stay healthy in that depth they have in Miami, Nets could be in trouble.
I tell you what, I would love to see that series. If that ends up being a first round Miami versus Brooklyn,
that's gonna be
Ben Simmons. He's not going to have to worry about playing against Philadelphia. He will go up against the best player, Jimmy Buckets, and he will shut him down. I promise you that right now.
It depends when he comes back too. I think so. I personally think the Nets will overtake the Cleveland Cavaliers to not have to play in the play-in game. So I do actually think they do face the 76ers or the Bucks in the first round. That's my personal thought.
That's going to be good TV.
I mean, either way, you're looking at one hell of a first round on that, just based off that series.
And I would hope for the Bucks. I want
the 76ers.
If it doesn't matter, you could have the Bucks. Guess what? That's a revenge game. You could have the 76ers. That's a revenge game against James Harden. So either way, if that happens, it's going to be a revenge series.
I'd love it. That would be a watch every moment kind of thing.
Yeah. I just hope. I don't want to see it in the first round, though. I want to save it for a little bit later.
I don't know if we're going to get that choice.
Save it for a little bit later.
Unless they come off and Celtics start imploding. So, but yeah, that's kind of what we got for the NBA. A lot of drama coming up. Obviously, I just said 18 games left. April 8th, 6th, something in that range is the last final game before the playoffs start, or playing game starts. So, we're less than a month away, guys, of the NBA season, regular season wrapping up. So, there's a lot to come forward.
Yeah, and I'm just looking forward to the NFL free agency period starting.
Hey, your Phoenix Suns won.
I know they won.
They dominant.
Because they're the best team in the entire league. That's why they won.
Yeah, all right.
And they beat the number 1 team in the Eastern Conference.
Without Jimmy Buckets.
I think it was rigged, and I think the referees were betting on the game.
It probably was.
Hey, as they should be allowed to. Actually, referees should not be allowed to.
Referees should.
No. Fuck referees. I like players to bet. All right, guys. Well, with that said, I gave all my takes on the NFL today as much as I could in our time period. And I guess we will. I'll be getting to settling the kingdom back on for the weekend. As a matter of fact, so hopefully we get some more news coming out, and should be part of the beginning of the tampering period when some more things come out about what the Chiefs could be doing here in free agency and making some moves, maybe with Frank Clark, or at least getting some information about what the plans are with Frank Clark down the road. Potentially very, very soon. So,
and don't forget, guys, we are also associated, partnered, whatever you want to say, with Let's Talk Sports. And you can find their logo up this way, right there. They're on YouTube, Facebook. We are associated. We'll probably be getting some episodes going too.
They just had an interview with Tommy Bowden, the son of Bobby Bowden, today.
Yeah,
on their
that was
show
actually pretty
too,
cool.
as well. So
really talk.
That guy is the interview king. I'm not gonna lie.
He gets them all over the place. So, but hey, look at some of those channels here. You'll see a lot more going on there. Follow them on Facebook, especially where you can see a lot of info. But the buffoons will be appearing a little bit more there. So, subscribe, follow, like, hit the bell,
and I'll see you all on the next one.
Sports buffoons, we're out.
That was a good show.
Hey, here's your notebook. Here you go.
Oh, yes, I don't. Oh, I don't want
Make
that
sure
shit.
you get that back.
No, I don't want that fucking bullshit.
Stick it in your pocket.